Plea to the Foreigner by Babasaheb Ambedkar. 6. This mentality of the Congress High Command towards the servile classes is enough to negative the theory that the supremacy of the governing classes in the Congress provinces was an accident. There are other facts which also go to negative the theory of accident and which are set out in Table 23. They relate to the educational qualifications of the several classes of candidates selected by the Congress for fighting the elections. What does the table show? It is crystal clear that in the case of the Brahmins, the relative proportion of graduates to non-graduates is far higher than what is in the case of non-Brahmins and the scheduled castes. Was this an accident or was this a matter of policy? This sort of selection is masked by such a state of uniformity that it could hardly be doubted that the Congress High Command is selecting a candidate as a definite policy, namely in the case of Brahmins, to give preference to a candidate who had the highest educational qualifications, and in the case of the non-Brahmins and scheduled castes, to give preference to a candidate who has the lowest educational qualifications. The difference in terms of graduates and non-graduates does not really reveal the real difference between the status and position of the Brahmin candidates and the non-Brahmin candidates. The Brahmin candidates were not merely graduates, but they were seasoned politicians of high repute, while the non-Brahmin graduates were raw graduates, with nothing but the career of second-class politicians behind them. Why did the Congress select the best educated Brahmins as its candidates for elections? Why did the Congress select the least educated non-Brahmins and scheduled castes as its candidates for elections? To this question, I can see only one answer. It was to prevent the non-Brahmins, the representatives of the servile classes, from forming a ministry. It cannot be that better educated non-Brahmins were not available. What the Congress seems to have done is deliberately prefer an uneducated non-Brahmin to an educated non-Brahmin. Table 23. Classification of Brahmin and non-Brahmin Congress partymen by literacy. Provincial assemblies, castes, total, graduates, non-graduates, matriculates, illiterates, not stated. Assam, Brahmin, 6, 5, 1, nil, nil, nil. Non-Brahmins, 21, 15, 2, nil, 1, 9. Brahmin, 15, 14, 1, nil, nil, nil. Bengal, non-Brahmin, 227, 21, 4, nil, 1, 7. Scheduled castes, 6, 3, nil, 1, 2, nil. Brahmin, 31, 11, 5, 8, 4, 3. Bihar, non-Brahmin, 39, 23, 4, 3, 8, 13. Scheduled castes, nil, 1, 1, 4, 10, nil. Brahmin, 39, 15, nil, 2, 9, 2. Central provinces, non-Brahmins and scheduled castes, 54, 15, nil, 2, 1, 176, 1. Brahmin, 38, 16, 2, 3, 4, 13. Madras, non-Brahmin, 90, 31, 3, 1, 7, 61. Scheduled castes, 26, 1, 1, 1, 14, nil. Backward class, nil, 1, nil, 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 nil. Brahmin, 11, 6, 1, nil, 3, 1. Odisha, non-Brahmin, 20, 7, 3, 2, 7, 1. Scheduled castes, 5, nil, 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 5, nil. And why? Because from the point of view of governing classes, the uneducated non-Brahmin has two definite positions over an educated non-Brahmin. In the first place, he is likely to be more grateful to the Congress High Command for having got him elected than an educated non-Brahmin is likely to be. In the second place, the uneducated non-Brahmin is less likely to join hands with the educated non-Brahmins in the Congress party and overturn the ministry of the governing classes and form a non-Brahmin ministry. In the third place, the greater the number of Brahmins in the Congress, the lesser is the possibility of the non-Brahmins in the Congress forming a competent and alternative ministry to the detriment of the governing classes. Given these circumstances, can there be any doubt that the Congress fights for freedom is for the freedom of nobody except that of the governing class? Is there any doubt that the Congress is the governing class and the governing class is the Congress? Is there any doubt that when Swaraj came in 1937 in the form of provincial autonomy, the Congress deliberately and shamelessly put the governing class in places of power and authority? The end.